Hey guys, girls, and folks who have overcome the gender binary. What's up? It's your boy Max. So today I decided I'm going to try to start a consistent-ish schedule for uploading. Most likely expect videos either on Mondays or Tuesdays every week. Hopefully. Don't hold me to that, please, because sometimes life happens, So I have a little something prepared. Everyone who knows me knows I am obsessed with everything. Two big things that I'm obsessed with are Broadway and the big gay. Trademarked. You have to trademark the big gay. So I decided I would make a little video talking about LGBT representation within the Broadway community. So I've seen multiple shows throughout my many years as a human being, because before this I was a cat. Don't tell anyone. I'm a furry. No, I'm not. I promise. I'm not a furry. Okay. Anyway, so I started in March. I decided to see a play every other month. So March I saw Prom. May I saw Dear Evan Hansen. I saw Be More Chill a few weeks ago this July. And hopefully in September, I will continue the trend with watching Beetlejuice. I'm excited for that. So I decided to talk a little bit about Broadway and the LGBT community because for a lot of people, Broadway is considered gay culture. Not everyone, just for some people consider it. And for me it is. But not everyone who's gay has to like Broadway. Not everyone who likes Broadway is gay. It's just kind of like a weird stereotype, but it does work for me. So I'm going to cover a few of my favorites. Only 3 because I don't have time for anything else. Anyway, so the first one I have on my list is Be More Chill. Be More Chill follows the journey of this sweaty, awkward, nerdy high school boy named Jeremy. Jeremy is obsessed with this girl, Christine, who is a big theater actress. So he decides to join the school play, then ends up taking a computer from Japan, which helps him be more chill. The computer is called the SQUIP, Super Quantum Unit Intel Processor. SQUIP. Anyway, it looks like Keanu Reeves for some reason, but everyone loves Keanu Reeves. Anyway. So Max, how does Be More Chill fall into the head? How does Be More Chill fall into the LGBT community? Jeremy likes Christine. That sounds pretty hetero. And yeah, the main ship or the canon ship is heterosexual, but there are a lot of side characters or mentions of gay LGBT characters. So let's start with Michael Mell. Michael Mell is the best friend of Jeremy here, and he does at one point early on in the show mention having 2 mothers. So 1 and 2 gay characters, even though they never show up in the show. I wish they did. They would have been awesome. Anyway. But Michael himself is not flat out said to be gay, but everyone in the fandom believes he is. For one, his iconic hoodie, which you see him wearing all but 2 or 3 scenes in the show, has a pride patch. Which you could just be well, Max, pride patches don't necessarily mean they're in the LGBT community. It could be an ally who's showing support. Yeah, but nah. In one song, Mr. Here's Jeremy's dad is singing a song about pants called the Pants Song. And it's about putting the pants on for the ones you love, how you're basically manning up kind of thing. It's metaphorical and literal, unfortunately. We had to watch Mr. Here walk around without pants for the majority of the musical. Anyway, he tries to recruit Michael to help Jeremy, but Michael has been kind of rejected quite a few times by Jeremy after Jeremy gets the SQUIP, and he's hurt, and he just wants to see his friend again, but he thinks it's not going to happen, and he's too angry at Jeremy to really move on, right? So he was heartbroken. His best friend of 12 years ditches him to get a girl. That's not okay. But Mr. here says one line that I really like. He says, "Do you love him?" And of course, Mr. here means this in a platonic sense, but Michael's response is iconic. He goes, "What?" Which leads everyone to believe that he may or may not have a giant crush on Jeremy. I think it's May. So basically, he's in love with his best friend. Another LGBT, not one LGBT character, two LGBT characters that are hinted at, never explicitly stated, but hinted at quite highly, are in the end. I will not say the names because spoilers. But in the last scene, they are like hinted at as being a couple. And like I said, it's not like outright said, "Oh yeah, we're dating now," or something like that. But they're like arms wrapped around each other, kind of like really close, even though they didn't really have much interaction prior in the show. They just seemed very like friendly with each other and very close. And maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I hope I'm not because I ship it. Let's continue down here. The last LGBT character is my personal favorite, Rich Garansky. You might know him because he set the fire, but whatever. So, Rich, for me, is a very meaningful LGBT character. He is the only person in the show that flat out comes out as a part of the LGBT community. For instance, once he no longer has a squip, he is the one who says, "Oh my God, I am totally bi now." Or, well, he didn't say that now. He said, "I'm totally bi." And he's kind of like the realization that he isn't just straight. He likes girls and guys. And the squip, I guess, kind of suppressed that, which for me shows a lot about the squip. Like, the squip could be a representation of internalized homophobia. Because throughout the show, before the squip is gone, he makes a lot of rude comments, like, towards Jeremy and Michael, like, saying that they're gay. Like, when Jeremy finally gathers the courage to sign up for the school play to impress this girl he likes, Rich Gransky starts out with screaming, "Gay!" Which isn't cool. Come on, guys. That's not nice. And everyone laughs. And then Chloe's just like, "I like gay people." And it's just, like, really weird. And earlier on, actually, before that, he writes "boyf" on Jeremy's backpack and "rens" on Michael's, and when they put them together, it spells boyfriends. So he's like, he seems to be very homophobic, but you find out that it's the squip's doing, and that kind of shows that the squip is very homophobic. So the squip for me can be a bunch of different, like a combination of a bunch of different factors. Like, it's an amalgamation of different aspects that can be detrimental to one's health, even if they have internal facets and external facets. Like, some of the things the script can represent is abuse, negative self-thinking, negative self-esteem, peer pressure, discontentment, and internalized homophobia. Being as Rich was homophobic throughout while he had the squip, and then later on is like, "Wait, I'm bi. What?" So, yeah. And don't worry, guys, that's the longest tangent I'm going to go off on. The next one is the prom. The prom. The funny thing about the prom, one line I want to mention before I get into the little story about the prom, is that there's one line that I really find funny. Like I was talking about earlier about people think that gay culture is Broadway. There is one line in the prom where this guy says to one of the main Broadway actresses, "There are straight people who like Broadway too." And she looks at him in shock and she's like, "I thought they were a myth." And it was like said as it was supposed to be a joke, but it's kind of like, yeah, some people do think that. So anyway, the prom is a musical about a bunch of Broadway actors who want to seem less narcissistic. So they decide to fight for a small cause and get attention. So people like, hey, they're no longer narcissistic, even though it's a really narcissistic thing to do. I hate that word. Too many S's. Anyway, so the cause they choose is a girl in in a small town in Indiana whose prom was canceled because the Parent-Teacher Association didn't want her to go with her girlfriend. But, like, they can't kick one person out of prom, so they cancel it completely because they're jerks. Don't trust the PTA ever. I'm kidding. So basically, I just really love this musical, but I think it was only created for the purpose of rhyming lesbian with thespian. They do. Only once, but it was funny. So one of the things I love about the show is that they feed into stereotypes, but like they defy a lot of them, and not even just on the gay spectrum. Like the second song in the show, Changing Lives Reprise, they sing a lot about they have a whole verse that's basically just them yelling about different stereotypes around that area of the USA. Like, and they're not nice ones. They're not nice stereotypes. They're rude, and I mean, most stereotypes aren't nice. Most stereotypes are rude, but these ones are like really bad, really nasty. So the lyrics are really crude, but they provide an excellent point, which I feel when I saw it, most of the audience missed. A lot of the audience were laughing along and having a good time with these obscene lyrics, but like as the story grows and as it continues and the characters start to see that they were kind of wrong, and they never go out and say I'm wrong and I was wrong to judge it, but like you can see their growth and how well they change, and that's like a phenomenal. Another really good stereotype that was kind of smashed that I love is it focuses on the lesbian couple. So Emma's the main one. She's very tomboyish and like she's a butch. If either of the two girls would be butch, it would be Emma. She's more like casual clothes and like not really a fan of dressing up or looking flashy, I guess. And she like has the shorter hair, not like short like mine, obviously, but like bob, I guess, kind of. And she's definitely more like masculine than the other girl, Alyssa. Alyssa is a total lipstick lesbian. Like she's fashionable. She likes skirts and pretty things, and she is popular, which isn't like I'm not saying that every lipstick lesbian is popular, but like, I don't know. It kind of helps her case. Thing is, they gave the more masculine but still feminine lesbian the soprano part, while Alyssa, the lipstick lesbian and the girly girl, is the alto. And while that kind of seems stupid to some people, I love that because most people would automatically assume the butch would be the alto, while the lipstick would be the soprano. And it's kind of just like, I think it's an underappreciated part in defining typical relationship roles, even within the LGBT community. So I thought that was amazing. Actually, the prom made history in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade by having the first kiss of the LGBT nature in said parade. And overall, it's a great show about LGBT representation. And if there's any song I recommend, it's Unruly Heart, because that song is just kind of like Emma's story about coming out and like trying to hide at first, but then realizing that the norm couldn't control her unruly heart, and then falling in love with Alyssa, and that kind of it's a beautiful song. I would recommend listening to it. And the third and last show I'm going to talk about is Falsettos. This is a very popular show. It's had like so many revivals. I don't even know how many. It's about this man, Marvin, who divorces his wife, Trina, and leaves his kid, Jason, to run off with his best friend, Wizard. And it's a comedy that turns into a tragedy, but it's entertaining and emotional, and also deals with a lot of issues. One issue is hiding. Like Marvin, it isn't really shown or said outright, but it talks a lot about how Marvin kind of wasn't really into Trina. And it seems like it's more of a thing where he used her as like kind of a beard, if you know what I mean. A beard is someone of an opposite sex that a gay or lesbian person will date to make it seem like they're straight. And that's what I feel like Trina was. So it led to a lot of issues with a lot of people he cared about. And because, yeah, maybe he didn't like love Trina romantically or sexually, but he loved her platonically at least. This show takes place in the 80s, so that's like a massive thing. I think it was first originally written in the 80s too. So there's like a massive amount of feminism and LGBT culture for a show taking place in the 80s. Like, there are two lesbians that only come in Act 2, which I hate because they should have been in all of the show because they are fantastic. But the lesbians, one's a doctor and one's like a culinary chef, and she's terrible until like the very last scene where she actually makes really good food. And I think that's like really, really well done because like feminism in the 80s wasn't really that high up yet. Not to mention the fact that they're lesbians. Like that in the 80s was also looked down upon, I think. I don't know. I didn't live in the 80s. Also, about the 80s, the AIDS epidemic really started. That was when it took off. And this is important to the show. Like, the AIDS was like a huge part of Act 2. So the musical shows like an important crisis that happened in the world that many people at the time didn't focus on. Like, even now, AIDS isn't really cared about or like paid attention to, which isn't good because it's a very real and very dangerous infection. Like, not to mention it has a huge part in the LGBT community, like due to it being spread primarily with gay men. And let me just say, I'm not saying only gay men have AIDS. That's not true. There are many ways AIDS can be spread. And anyone can really get AIDS. But it started out mainly from a man to a man through intercourse. Later on, it developed into like different things, and it's just. But the AIDS crisis like needs more attention, even now, because there's still no cure, as far as I know of. There's still people that are getting sick and dying or getting hurt by it. It's just not good. But the falsettos brought this up, which I thought was it kind of like emphasized that this is something that needs to be done about this, basically. So that's all the time we have for today, but I did leave out a bunch of musicals, unfortunately. Like Rent is one of my musicals I've loved for my whole life. I didn't get to that. But still, like these are some amazing LGBT musicals, and I really recommend checking them out, especially since at least 2 of them are closing next month. Be More Chill and Prom. Please watch them before they close. They are so phenomenal. And I really love them so much. So I just recommend watching them if you can, or if you can't, just maybe buy the album and listen to them. Just support them in any way you can. They're beautiful, beautiful shows. All 3 of them are, even though Falsettos, I think their current revival is doing really well. So just take it easy, friends. Be kind, have fun, and make it a great day. Maxie out.